Hey guys, Boris here. The echoes of regionals are still fresh in our memories, and many exciting games were played across all of the regions. Here today, we're looking at the final lobby standings from EMEA, and congratulations to Elia for securing his regionals title. Now, unfortunately, Elia and, for example, Double do not have public ones. Therefore, today I'm going to bring our attention here to Deisik, who managed to rebound after a little bit rough start, taking an 8th on the first game, and as such managed to secure a top 4 slot, and in EU only the top 5 players qualified for the Worlds. Therefore he came in very clutch, especially in the last game here that we're going to jumping in, and let's see how he managed to rebound, keep his cool, and secure not only an increase in prize money, but a trip to the Worlds as well. Jumping in hot here, he already checked the Ionia path here is the path of the Prosperous, and as suiting for the final game of the final lobby, it's no encounter, requiring these players to show all of their skills in all the other possible areas. Starting out with a Shen here, could potentially consider playing it as path of Prosperous into capping out for something. If you do get a high tempo opener, definitely want to be having at least couple of upgrades or something like a Shen and an Ari to be playing into it. Do get a bow, which nicely fits into this Ionia line, as it can use quite a few bows, all those Nasher 2s, Titans, Rageblade for the Iona, quite few too. But do we get a double Iona drop on our well as well? Could be considering to playing into it, however, it is going to be quite expensive. Like, if you do get like something like a dupe, relying on high rolling a Leona 2 is very, very expensive to be holding sometimes onto this 3 gold, extra 3 gold throughout the stage 2 if it's costing you to make econ thresholds. It seems like it's a low item start, only a couple of items, more of an econ augment, and checking our spot here, we are holding on all the possible outs. We're holding onto this Viego here, we're holding onto these Iona units with a Jin pair and a Shen pair. Not the one you would be excited for mostly, but still. And going to utilize that next shop to end the augment to give us clear direction. Keeping on that augment, we have silver augment, therefore definitely holding onto these outs was quite valuable, as the lobby is not going to be spiking as hard. And perhaps we're not going to getting as much direction unless we do set something like the emblem augment. For our choices, Survivor, there have been plays where some people go for this as a win out for going for 3-star 4 course, but generally extremely risky and would require some high tempo opener, which while Leona is a good tank, we do not really have the backline to support it at the moment. Chaotic Evolution more plays into 1 cost reroll, which unfortunately does not exist in the game at the moment. Therefore, the highest cap offered to us potentially right here at the moment is the Latent Forge to be considering. Most likely going to be defaulting that. Risky moves again, do not have the opener again. Very high, these tournament lobbies are extremely high tempo. Therefore, it's going to be very hard for him to be able to capitalize on that. Air Axiom, generally these Axiom augments are quite good, however we do have that last is proper to us, and the way we would be playing it is we have to be played really into AD Fast 9, and unfortunately AD Fast 9 is not a thing. You could potentially play something like an Ari reroll, have that Air Axiom here, still make that Void Staff and help her be supported, the Ione, through that just giving some little bit of extra attack speed on her. But Latent Forge at the moment is the clearest way to be playing for a potential highest cap. But the downside that potentially the artifact we're offered is going to be weaker if we have locked in ourselves in a line. Now, do get offered a Viego 2 and a Laui 2 with a Twisted Fate. Unfortunately, again, this is 2 components start. And we did not take an auto item augment, therefore cannot be playing into this bilge. Otherwise, could be a good angle, even with turn late. Still going to level, play our strongest board with this double Leona. Again, we can see how much they value tempo in this line. We see that there is Elia, who has also unlocked the Yorick on him by himself. But this last Whisper Slam, this is now... Obviously, we could gamble a Reforge later on, but otherwise, this is pretty much locking ourselves into this Shadow Isles line or an AD Fast 9 line. Have to check here if we're going to opt to make a Econ. Could potentially hold it as a Zinzao, but we're going to probably value this Leon a little bit more. Interesting to see here. Like, obviously this Twisted Fate fights in here. Perhaps we go pick up a win there. Therefore, yeah, we're going to sell that Leona again. Talking about holding on to this 3-cost pair is quite expensive, and especially we have a clear unit that we could be slotting in on level 5 with the Zinzao. Now, again, since it's a single item 2 component start, Us having that slam is going to give us the most amount of tempo, especially an upgraded unit. And on the board that generally fits. Also interesting to see how he has positioned here. Obviously this way, okay, he swaps up position again. This very, very interesting plays he's making right here. Trying to protect that Viego as much as he possibly can. Before in that corner position, obviously, if there's a corner carry there, the Leona would be targeting the aggro. And this way, the Yorick could potentially either wrap on them or like ensure that there's no other... Well, that would ensure that the Leona gets the most of the aggro there. But in this play, in the last play, he made it sure that again the Viego goes into the middle, perhaps trying to isolate the weakest of the tanks from across the board from the opponents. Do pick up a Loris with a bow, and we're able to now slot in these. Warden's going to give up on the Zenzao at the moment, still valuing that anti-heal provided by Leona. Quite strong there. We see Eltrius Coco playing for a Aphelios reload, perhaps trying to secure some placements on his own side at this point. But it's nice that we have managed to string together this 4-streak, identifying. We hit that Viego. We were able to slam an item home that he can generally use, being a hybrid fighter. Now an interesting choice again. The Shadow Isles line generally tends to lack a little bit in the front line. Yorick received some nerfs, and until Yorick do start here, this Leona is going to have to do quite heavy lifting. Therefore, do we really have to be passing up on the Gwen here, or are we going to sacrifice the Econ? If we close it on this 5-streak, it's fine, but unfortunately we queue into Scion 2, supported by the double item LeBlanc. Therefore, our streak is broken, and it seems like we are going to pass upon this. Oh, we're going to lock the shop for the Gwen. Alright, so going to obviously wanting to slot that in. Wanted to play the strongest board last turn. Very well played by Deisik, again showing why he's one of the best players into the region. Do we get a bow here? Double rod. Yeah, Spark Slam is something thing that we consider, but again, we would be wanting to slam some of these items now. Potentially... Generally, the original idea was with the Shadow Isles that you would want to be definitely streaking stage 3 if you're unable to streak stage 2. Obviously, being a tempo comp, you always wanted to streak as much as you could. But since it's been confirmed that the souls are normalized, if we are losing some souls here, we should be gaining them back in stage 4 and still getting a Threshold pace. At the moment, our only concern would be getting that Kalista unlocked. Definitely, we want that before stage 4, but obviously before stage 4 too, without questions. On our augment here, Sword Overflow could be quite good, could sort us our items. Therefore, we did not slam our items before, as they did not make such exactly what we were looking for at the moment. We want some damage items. We could sort that utility perhaps a little bit later on. We want some Kalista items, and Sword Overflow can offer that for us. However, the same goes for Min-Max. Min-Max especially is insane if we have some kind of TG. Indecision. We would be pretty much committing to losing here. First augment was silver. This is a huge spike to the lobby. Everyone who takes some kind of item or combat augment, we are going to be losing too. And while we generally want gold, because this Shadow Isles line needs to get to 9 to cap high, I do not see that. I would be... I'm not exactly sure. But Sword Overflow seems the more appealing one to me at the moment. But Min-Max could also be valued higher, perhaps by him. Now, Retribution is also a decent one, however, later on we're going to have that Vanquisher and therefore going to lose a little bit on that critical strike chance, but at the moment it will be quite good on the Viego. But the thing is with the Viego, he does fall off on stage 3. So it's going to value the min-max here, wanting the component variety most likely, and we have also a double, we have double reforger now, and once we get the golden remover, we're going to get 5 more reforgers. Therefore, we can start looking to reforge some of the components we do not like and try to fish for items. That's why this augment has been a little bit undervalued in some cases, but it's quite good, and also is going to help with our remover economy. We're going to be able to play very aggressively. Hold the line is also a decent option for the Shadow Isles if you're able to get to the quite high cap state. Also, 0 soldiers counting for that. But it's going to have a little bit less of a power at the moment. Therefore, item augment is going to probably give us the most tempo right now. Interesting to see. I would assume he goes with the min. Gonna reroll that and go with the hold the line. Now, when playing for a high cap comp, we do want quite a lot of items. Obviously, we're gaining that. We're going to be getting that Latent Forge. Still a very interesting play. Playing to Luxury's Precision Shyvana. Again, going to be losing to that. So it feels like he's in some sense comfortable here. Obviously, did not level to 6 either here. Trying to make the max amount of econ. Pretty much committing to that loss streak. Perhaps playing into 6 loss on our Piltover module here. We are, we're taking just the blast shields at the moment. Just generally the best choice. Also, again, speaking into the Shadow Isles comp, sometimes a little bit feeling like it's lacking in the frontline department. For the beefy frontliners, different blast shields sort that out for you. Probably going to be slotting in. We have this Gwen in already. Just slacking the Caitlyn for the hold the line value. Hence why we're also third rowing the Viego at the moment. Trying to kill as few what units we can and hoping that there might be some sackers, but again, these reroll comps are going to be coming online on the next stage. Therefore, it's fortunate for us that we're fighting this player at the moment. Maybe can pick up a cheesy win here, able to do so, but that ruins our loss streak. Therefore, our econ is in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Now again, Hold the Line does offer a quite high cap if you're able to get these frontline units. Especially the Azir soldiers online to count for it. I am still a little bit hung up on that choice. Coming up on our artifact anvil at the moment. What do we get offered? Seeker's Arm Guard, quite good for the trash. That's Defiance, can also be decent. But Seeker's Arm Guard is generally just going to be higher. We also have that Spark Slam for him as well at the moment. And I'm not exactly sure how good Gold Collector is on that Kalista. Since I don't know if her spears get transferred, do they? If they do, it seems like a decent option. Also going to synergize with that crit, and we also have at the moment only a single AD item there, and Kalista is going to be our spike. So we're going to go with the Gold Collector. Simply ensures that we have a pretty much guaranteeing ourselves that we're going to be having a 3 item carry coming up on the next stage. Planning for a Thresh would be just a little bit too far down the line, especially on a Thresh 1 with the Seeker's Arm Guard. Have that Kalista unlocked at the moment, so going to be slotting that in and transitioning our items. So you can see that still the soul normalization has made it so that we do get this Kalista online even from not of as a strong stage 3. Travis Cat again appearing for us as we go into the PV round. Do not seem to be able to get him. Do seem to get a revenge. Holy! Okay, so definitely we can see. I mean, obviously the units here were quite low, but it does seem that the spears do get transferred. Have not really had seen this interaction myself. Would just quickly be interested in pulling up the stats 1 second. If we just do a Kalista for items. Well, he's mapping out his team. We can quickly check. Yeah, so Gold Collector is definitely the best Kalista's artifact. So it does seem that the interaction there is that the Kalista is able to transfer. And okay, so what did I just miss? We just got a Prismatic Orb with a triple item. Now, maybe he had a foresight that that these item anvils are incoming, therefore did not take the min-max. Able to get the blue buff, generally the best mana generating item for the Kalista. The otherwise Fierce Explosion is quite acceptable. Sorting out a frontline item here, and the last item now we could be considering something like a Thresh items, and that would probably be Edge of Night most likely here. Not exact much value, but also yeah, able to make the items for the Mbessa immediately. Again, playing for that extra spike. I'm thinking about Thresh, he's thinking about what is good right now. How do we secure these rounds? How do we ensure our way to the level 9? Well read by Deisik here. Now, at this point, we have our combat, we have our items sorted out thanks to that Prismatic Orb. We would probably be fishing for some kind of econ augment. Therefore, commerce score is appealing. Red buff, blue buff, 1 buff, 2 buff. Not exactly what they're looking for. Right? And the Rascals could potentially open up a cap if we wanted to. So to look, because we're going to be having quite a few carries if we're able to get to that 9. However, to get to 9, we do need that econ. We do need to find one of our focus. Growth mindset now is just simply the best option we have. That is why you do not pump levels. This is going to ensure that we are able to spike very hard right away. Faster is going to be more than commerce score, and invested would be for a sacking spot. We're at 65 HP and the lobby seems tight. There's only one player that seems to be kind of pulling away. Therefore, growth mindset going to be immediately pumped and able to just simply use all this gold that we have saved up at the moment to roll down. Find that invested 2, find the Brom 2, which is huge for sorting out our front line right now. And Kalista 2, able to spike very hard, fully enabled by taking this growth mindset here. Otherwise, we would simply just not have the gold to do so. As we can see, it's just very sound TFT, and I've definitely seen already quite a few interesting notes to make for myself from this game. Scouting around, now we have the threshold line already also quite fast, so going to start dropping some of the Shadow Isle units at the moment. Generally, the highest cap version is going to be holding on to just the Kalista and the Thresh. However, we could tag around with this Yorick for quite a while, since we're running that 5 Warden frontline at the moment and do not have anything better. If we did get dropped a Ornn, then potentially we'd be considering swapping that out. Otherwise, going to lose here. But this Kalista is just farming us insane amount of gold, so this is another factor I believe is that why the gold collector is so great, is she's just able to print money for you by spiking those spears into the lower HP targets. We see Shadow Isle so very rarely that I had not even mapped out the artifacts myself for this comp, and very nice to note how insane it is. Going to slot that Seraphine is obviously a better unit than just a simple Y1 providing ourselves with that Piltover. Now, unfortunately, we have not high-rolled this Ornn ourselves. That would also enable Upscout Power higher. Going against Raikou Mastery, playing some kind of Yordle. Flex most likely going to be in the game, playing the Yordles to farm some econ at the moment, but unfortunately has not been able to find that Veigar too, so sitting there. Also starting to hold on to these Garants, the curse to these Demacia players every time. Level 8, not even close to 9. Yep, gotta start holding by Garants for the Silas cap as well. Would be interested to note if there's any kind of defender we would be capping into, or we're just simply holding on to the delaying. I would assume that if we do get a Silas, we could still potentially play for it with that Hodge Edge of Night. It's going to be quite of a beast on its own. But his Ambessa is definitely putting in work. Definitely can see why he considered taking Sterak's Gauge there before. Are we also holding on to these Luxes? Yeah. Who's ever playing Demacia in this game, sorry for you, guy. You're just not hitting. There's also quite a few Luxes already out, so definitely, yeah, whenever you see there's 2 ways contest, if you find these units, you can just grab that. The red buff here to sort our utility, and the final sword item could just become a BT for the Thresh is quite fine. Also, Sterak's Gauge for the Braum, completing a true third tank item. Well, true, being a pseudo true more, but it's just going to be better than the Spark in terms of tankiness, and the Thresh can use that AP a little bit better as well. Again, we can just see how clean his itemization is. Me being a little bit tired here after a full day. He's on top of his shape, and this is why even on the 6 games is very demanding, especially in these high elo games and obviously tournament games. Still keeping clear mind, having practiced this for years now, able to make the best plays, identify everything on the fly. Against the Demacia with the Shyvana Radiant TG, Shyvana 2 also rolled quite high, so there's going to be a very tanky for us. Also the Swain coming in with a stun. Now, is this Kalista just truly broken in itself that we're able to deal with it? And unfortunately not, there's just too much HP now for this Kalista to start showing through. However, if that ult went out, the fortunate part with it, the ult mechanic being so long, able to unlock the Rise here, that is also another one way of how you can be capping your board. Instead we find the Zir, and already find an Azir pair as well. Find that Shyvana, but we have given up on our Nautilus, I believe. Yeah, so wouldn't have that jug for her. Still, obviously, a very good unit to be tossing in, providing that DR to your whole team. And ever since the aura changes just took place, when the aura persists after the unit has died. But did we lock the shop or did we pass upon it? Going to see in a second. Now, appealing here would probably be the Rage Blade for a 0 or going to Gunblade for the Threshold. Again, completing 3 items on your 3 items on your unit is always going to have to take prio, and this Gunblade is simply better of a choice. Thresh can use it. You do that. Completing the Thresh 2, which is quite good for us. Sometimes if you're stuck on Thresh 1, this guy becomes a little bit useless at this point of the game, as he just gets bursted down. But with Thresh 2, he's able to provide a tankiness, able to, as we can see, start dropping some of the Wardens out in favor of these high value 5 costs. Still holding on to these, this Garen here, but it does seem that we're not going to go for a Silas. Able to find a Renekton too. Going to increase our cap quite significantly, and we're closing in on the top 4 here at the moment. If you're able to pick up a win or a 2 here, should be fine with that. Another Shyvana Demacia player, so yeah, we can see definitely why we're holding on to these Gardens and Lux is just delaying these players. But now it seems that with the Thresh 2 providing that extra damage on his own part, we're able to chew through these tanky Demacia board. This is why it's so important to sorting out your utility as you go. Still have not found a single one, so it's probably going to be too late to be playing for that. Find the Thresh 2 and find the Seraphine 2, sorry, the Azir 2 and Seraphine 2. Going to transition the... seems that the Gunblade, okay, going to transition the Gunblade. A little bit of a glass cannon build going on here for this Thresh, but we believe that in this way, if we are positioning him here, walking in between the tanks, he's going to be quite protected. Again, for this Thresh, we were generally wanting him to be on the same side as the enemy carry, so once we're able to burst it down from our side, we're able to start pulling in their corner carries. But otherwise, if you have to default position, just defaulting positioning him in the middle is quite fine. But this Kalista is putting insane work and printing us insane amount of money. I would be interested to see how much gold has this gold collector provided us since 3.5. The thing is, like, sometimes people hold on to this anvil, popping in at 4-1 if they're off in a spot just not to get his gold generating items. But for this Kalista, this is absolutely insane. Try messaging Elia in middle of the game, probably congratulating him that he has taken a win here. So it seems that the game is pretty much over from their side, but still, Deisik is going to be winning here. Not sure if you saw those messages, but he's thinking he's 5th, but still managed to secure a 4th. But still very well, even not the highest of the cap of the Shadow Isles game, but fully noticing how the which augments could enable him to reach a high cap. Finding that gold collector very well identified, showing his meta knowledge, obviously, which has to be the highest up if you're this far in the game, this high in the game, and making the interesting choices of what offers you the potential to cap the highest against some of these players. Here, for example, Elia with the prismatic ticket is going to, and Caretaker's ally has significantly reduced his cap for the potential where he can go with this Noxus reroll line. However, us playing a weaker line in just the base and not reaching his high state have taken a... Well, with one weak augment, we're supposed to be weak augment, but this prismatic combat augment is just simply very much a value for our board, plus the artifact, which obviously was one of the best options we could hit, allowed us to get to this extremely high cap. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something new, because I definitely did, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.